Hello, Music Multiverse listeners, and welcome to Beyond Your Radio. Tonight, we celebrate and rank the albums of Faith No More, one of the most important sound-shifting exploratory bands, genre benders from the garage rock start they had in 1979 or something like that, through the rock, alternative, grunge, and post-grunge eras that happened, never leaving their funk and groove, and of course, their lyrical style and range filled so wildly a little bit later by the great Mike Patton. Underrated? Arguments start all the time on that subject, but I think that's more for the newbies coming into the fold, as their influence is all over modern music. And while they have no accolades from the industry and hardware or any Rock and Roll Hall of Fame status that I'm aware of, they're worthy of the catalog review show tonight, at least in our minds and probably all their fans. So, the fans, this is for you. Tonight, what started out in a garage in California as Sharp Young Men by Mike Morris and keyboardist Wade Worthington sort of turned into Faith No Man by one of the band members' choice. And then Worthington's departure not long after brings in keyboardist Roddy Bottum, in which, became Faith No Man and kind of stayed there. But Borden, Gould, and Roddy didn't like what Morris was doing, so they left Morris. He just gets left behind, and all of a sudden they're Faith No More because there's no man, no Morris. So while they're looking around for a solo to get a singer, they have a stint with Courtney Love, of all people. Very minute position, I guess, that time. And then they find Mike Patton, who was with Mr. Bungle at the time, his high school band, if I recall correctly. So once you get, oh no, wait a minute, that's crazy. Not Mike Patton. They wind up with Chuck Mosley. That's right, getting ahead of myself. So Mosley comes in, and Mosley would be the primary for the first two albums, which would be We Care a Lot and Introduce Yourself. Mosley apparently became uncontrollable, unglued, and forced the band to replace him. That's when Mike Patton comes in, and that's when you really get, the real thing. The Faith No More that would bring Mr. Patton and a complete identity from a gripping vocalist, at least in my ear. Mike came from Mr. Bungle in his high school band, I think. And of course, he's got tons of other projects from Phantomas to Tomahawk, Dead Cross. He was formerly of Peeping Tom, Hemophiliac, Never Men, and Lovage. And there's also another project of his, some with genocide in it or something, genotypes or something. I have it. Some Mike Patton stuff is a little unlistenable, but that's my opinion. But he's definitely he's out there in the progressive realms. But before we tackle the evidence and rank the albums, it would be epic if you would subscribe to our channel. But not only that, give us some comments, some feedback, likes, so we know what you think. And to those already subscribed, let's get on with it because we already know you're cuckoo for caca. Tonight on the panel, he is the king for a day to my fool for a lifetime, Mr. Jeff Young. Evening, sir.
Hey, yeah.
Yeah.
Big Faith No More fan. Been a fan a long time. Long time.
Yes. I came in a little bit later, and when my ranking comes in, I'll give that understanding. So we'll rank the albums. We'll have a little chit chat. Just because it's the two of us, like we did Catherine Wheel, we'll just go back and forth. Then when we get done ranking, we'll see. We have to decide legendary, iconic, relevant, club level, or opening act, or faded memory. Ooh, even worse. I doubt that that's going to be the case, but hey, here we go. Mr. Young, we got 7 albums. I'll remind the people out there what those 7 albums are. They started with 1985's We Care a Lot, and then we went to Introduce Yourself in 1987. Then you had The Real Thing in 1989, which brings in Mike Patton. Angel Dust in 1992, King for a Day, Fool for a Lifetime. Then from 1995, Album of the Year, 1997, and Soul Invictus 2015. That's where the band is currently, with no plans of another album at this point. So, your number 7, sir.
I went with Introduce Yourself. And mostly because, when I first started listening to Faith No More, it was because of The Real Thing. And so at that time, you had only 3 albums to choose from. Only one with Mike Patton, and the other with the original. And so you're more likely to go back a couple albums and listen to the catalog. And so I liked listening to them. It wasn't anywhere near as good as The Real Thing, but the thing about Introduce Yourself to me is, it's easy to say, oh, terrible vocals, not really a singer, he's simply a vocalist. I felt like it was the best way I would think of describe it to somebody is if you took like the Talking Heads, the Cure, and the Ramones and put them together, and that's kind of what you get, but like a really raw garage type sound. Now this was like a studio album, it wasn't like We're Care a Lot, where it was like really just raw and low production because they used their own money.
Yeah.
But this is the one I listened to. One of the ones I listened to at least. Maybe there's 3 albums I hardly ever listened to, and this is one of them. I respect it. I liked it. I kind of grew up listening to some of it after I found out, The Real Thing. And, while I don't mind listening to it, I'm never going to listen to this album front to back. But if it's on, it's like, oh, it's like kind of like nostalgic. It's like, yeah, I want to listen to this. That's kind of cool. I remember listening to this as a kid, But it's decent. It's definitely more of a punk rock garage type sound, where they do, even though they do have some keyboards and stuff like that in there, which are not typical of your garage bands. But so you could see, like, even in that album, how when you look back, you go, oh yeah, I could see how they were developing a bigger skill set, like arranging things together.
Yeah. I agree with you. That's my number 7. Introduce Yourself. I think this is all about timing for me. Going back to it didn't work well for me. And what I was listening to at the time wasn't in the same realm. The production is ever changing on here, and it's a studio production. And I know damn well that whoever produced it did not understand what the band was or could have been. I think there's no space. It's compacted. Vocal schmokel. Vocalist, or I don't know. Garage punk is probably where you place this. I understand the experimental side of what they were trying to accomplish in certain aspects, but I don't think the producer understood it. I don't think they understood it. I don't think the band understood it. I also think they suffered from
sometimes the producers and the bands they go together. They may not even know what they have.
Right. 79, they started this. This is what? 80 what? I don't remember what the year again. Oh, I got to go back. 85.
87.
86, 87, 87. I think I don't think they were in the right headspace at all. And I'm sure Mosley had something to do with that. So yeah, that's my number 7. I honestly don't think there's any way you can go back, listen to this, and compare. This is not Faith No More. This is the middle of the Passover, right? Like those guys moving over and finding, I don't know. That just, yeah.
It's funny when you think about the bands that have changed. Like you can say, like, okay, like when Black Sabbath changed singers or Van Halen changed singers, the music in itself, even though it might change from album to album, isn't all completely different. Or
right.
You didn't find, like, it didn't seem like, okay, this is elementary school and this is where I graduated high school and this is more college level. It's like, but when you go back from Faith No More, from those more popular albums with Mike Patton to these, it's really like almost like a different league.
A different league. That's a good way. But listen, this band started with a keyboardist, a guitarist, a vocalist, a drummer. They were they were progressively set up in a garage. I'll stay there because we'll go to the next round. Number 6.
Um, for similar reasons about how much I ever listened to it, I just went to the first one, We Care a Lot. And We Care a Lot is the only song I care about on it. And you know, We Care a Lot is on both those albums we just talked about because they realized that, okay, the one song was good, but when they
It could
made
be
their own
better
album,
produced.
they didn't really have any distribution. They didn't. It wasn't available very many places. So they're like, okay, we'll take this song and re-release it on this first studio version. This is probably the version I heard originally because I think sometimes when I go back and I hear the We Care a Lot version, I'm just like, it sounds slow. Like what was going on here? You know, it just sounds different. You know, but I do appreciate how anybody can put together something on their own, get any type of traction, to even like get a record label to pay attention to them. You know, well, I mean, it's not something I can do. It's pretty amazing when you think, you know, and you know, We Care a Lot when it came out of that first album, it did get some. Well, I think it was the first or second. I don't know. Most of them maybe the second time, but I know We Care a Lot. It did get some airplay on MTV, which probably helped a lot for them.
Yes. Yep. Yep. My number 6. We Care a Lot. The experimentation is the hook. But the production and wavy flow is nowhere near the band they became. It's a dust collector in most cases. I don't even have it because there's a track or two that are glimpses of their progressive nature. But the only hit is on the prior album, which I have at number 7. You know, so I like The Jungle. I like Pills for Breakfast. The Arabian Disco thing, I don't know. Just they were it was all over the place. So I don't think anybody knew what they had. But little bits here and there, obviously. Most of it, Mosley did his thing. Gould is the second name on here for lyrics. Music wise, bottom Gould and Borden. Mosley's not contributing much in the music realm of this. So yep. You're number 5.
I went Soul Invictus. So Soul Invictus, this is for me, it's kind of like more like just an experimental album. I mean, I think I read where Mike Pad said that they were kind of just, I forget the quote exactly, but it didn't made it sound like they just felt like doing it because they wanted to do it and they didn't really care how it turned out to anybody else, just to them. But for me, I don't really care about this album that much. It seems experimental. It probably could have been released to just the fan club online, and like I would have bought it. But I mean, I forgot about
true,
it.
True.
I don't even know if I've listened to it more than once or twice in its entirety. And I don't know if I'll listen to it that many more times in its entirety ever again. But it, you know, you can tell there's, you know, it's your typical Mike Patton using his voice in many different ways, which is good. But it, like for me, it's not among my favorites. So I'm gonna gravitate to my favorites. You know, like I said, I'm not gonna listen to the album front to back, but give me a few tracks here and there, sprinkle them in. You know, I'm good.
Yeah. I think what was it?
I don't think I could name one song off of
That's a good yeah, that probably tells the real story, I would think, right? You can't. I mean, when one of your, I think the one release song is "Motherfucker," and you're not going to get that on airplay.
Oh,
And
yeah, I guess I remember that one.
yeah,
Some of
yeah. So, you know, not that was a great song either, right? I want to say "Cone of Shame."
In chalk, word to the wise, and the barman calls time. Ooh, I'd like to pay skin off.
That one I liked. That had meat on the bone. That had an angst to it. I kind of got this idea of the dog and how pissed off a dog is that it has to be that way, and how trapped the person is thinking that way. Maybe that's not how it is, but that was excellent. Matador was a good track.
It's
I
not
think the
bad.
Japanese.
for me, it's not anything like when I listen to all the other albums with Mike Patton, there's something on there that is intriguing or surprises you, and this doesn't really do it for me.
Yeah, this is a little bit more. Yeah, I don't think in the surprise realm. There's as much. I agree with that. Yeah, yeah. I agree with you on the number 5. Again, wow, we're neck and neck. I got a bad feeling about this. Number 4 for you.
King for a Day, Fool for a Lifetime. So this one is the way I would say it to anybody who's getting into Faith No More and kind of going in chronological order. If you're expecting the next version of Angel Dust after Angel Dust, sorry, it's not happening. This has definitely, of some of the Mike Patton albums that have more harsh vocals, are more prominent. But there's still a wide variety in his vocal style from track to track and even from within the actual track itself. So that is something that I think is what you see in most of the Mike Patton albums, is a lot of variety within each song and a lot of variety from song to song, which is I really like a lot. But I mean, I like the album. It's just happens to be, like my 4th favorite. So let's put it that way. I mean, a couple of them I probably could have interchanged. I could have made a different one 4, made this 3, or something. They're not terribly different, but this is where I wound up. And that, like, again, it's just always impressed by the variety in the tracks and the vocals and the variety in the music, and it's done well.
Yeah, I forgot like who produced. I know there's like a bonus disc for this. I'd love to I don't have that. I'd love to have it because I hear there's like tons of stuff on there. I don't know if anyway, it's so close. I did not have mine is album of the year at number 4. Yeah, I went with album of the year. This is the album that is so close to the next one. Going back and listening to this past 2 weeks, this one's been more on my playlist because of the alternative side of this. They really punched it. It surprised me how much I like nearly every single track. There's even the pop rock side one
that's always so refreshing when you find that, because almost any album you buy, you don't expect to like every song, right?
No. It's aggressive and alternatively designed. It has an Alice in Chains type of mentality. At least a couple of the songs made me feel that way, and a very interesting lyrical display along with the marksmanship and instrumentation. Now, the one thing that this band has always suffered from for me isn't a guitarist identity. They've kind of had this in and out of guitarists. Really, when you think of Faith No More, keyboard, drum, Patton, and bass. So guitarists have come and gone. I think the Mr. Bungle guy came in, and was it Martin? Was it Martin? I don't remember the guy's names and stuff, but there's that, like when you were Rage Against the Machine, Tom Morello, those kind of things.
Sure.
The AC/DC, those kind of things. I think that was something that that really didn't. That's probably why albums are different. You know what I mean? Probably if you look at it, I didn't go that deep, but yeah, my number 4 is album of the year. What was I want to make sure I just mentioned a couple of songs, and I don't know why they didn't stick in my head.
Last Cup of Sorrow.
Oh my God, yeah. Strip Search. I love Strip Search.
That's a great
wicked song. Ashes to Ashes. Come on, that was definitely Alice in Chains. Even Mouth to Mouth, it was an interesting. Got that feeling. That just even the repetitive nature's cool of it.
Is that the one that has? I can't remember which one has Midnight Cowboy on it. The instrumental.
No, Midnight Cowboy is Angel Dust. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I mean, your 4 brings me to my number 3.
Yep.
Which, what's funny is the way you're talking about how it's very alternative. It is less experimental. I wrote down like it's more
Yeah.
straightforward as a rock album, but it's still a wide variety of tracks and vocals and such. But I did read something where it was after this album is when they first broke up, and the one thing that Pat said, he thought they were starting to sound bad, and he said if we did want another song a year after this, it would have sucked. It would have been terrible. It would have been shit. And I think if you're willing to say that, you're willing to. I don't think they were happy with this album because maybe it was less experimental. Maybe they felt like they were getting more, cookie cutter.
Same. Yeah.
But for me, I thought they did a great job. It's a really good album, So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, this and King for a Day, I could easily switch around, but I don't know. I mean, I think my mood would change from month to month on which one I would hold above the other. I'm not sure. Maybe album of the year might be the one where I have more tracks to listen to. The other thing I want to say is the one thing I love about Faith No More, when they come out with an album, they have like 14 tracks on there. Like none of this eight songs, 7 songs. For you to say that, Mark, that you liked almost every song of the album, that's like 2 albums worth of most albums nowadays. It's like it's
well,
and a lot of these, and then you keep in mind, you're releasing 14 tracks on an album. You probably wrote at least 20. Probably have 20 completed somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and the one I have at number 1 is an hour and 2 minutes. So I mean it's hard to do. I don't agree with Rolling Stone on this album where they talk about it. The 2016 version is more forgiving. I don't know.
Maybe they're saying that because the vocals aren't as harsh like as this album of the year, but I don't know. I mean, that was no. I mean, yeah, or as King per Day, I should say, but
no, that my comes you're doing album of the year, and that's the quote from Rolling Stone is that the 2016 version of it is better than it's more tolerable or forgiving or I don't know.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
So anyway, all right. So my number 3 obviously is your number 4, King for a Day, Fool for a Lifetime. This was just the next step in evolution for them. It was catchy. Commercialized? Yeah, I don't believe that for a second. I mean, yeah, the gentle art of making enemies is the very breath and life of System of a Down, right? Which doesn't happen that year. System of a Down doesn't happen for a while yet. This is ahead of their time or groundbreaking in certain aspects. No,
true.
did they? No. Were they never the Nirvana? No, but actually, in most cases, they were probably a little bit more prolific than Nirvana. But
actually, I think their drummer said album of the year was like a life-changing album for him. Like it got him music.
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of influences, but so King for a Day, for me, the Evidence is got that swagger and that. I don't know how to describe it, but it's just like a cinematic kind of thing. I love the fact that you didn't know any Faith No More record, you don't know what you're gonna get. You just don't from song to song. The next song is a surprise. Another one leads into the other, and like you said, it's not like they're going to do some sort of 15-minute juggernaut progressive rock piece. So you had Evidence, which I love. Obviously, the gentle art of making enemies. Don't you look so surprised? Happy birthday, fucker. That's. I don't even know what the lyrics half the time when they go to those kind of things. If it's moments or that sometimes the lyrics are hard to follow. Digging the Grave, great track. Yeah, I don't even. I'd love to see what the outtakes were. But that's my number 3. Great cover too. That's my favorite cover of all of them.
Yeah, it's funny. You were talking like that about Patton. My number 2 is Angel Dust, and it's funny because in talking about Angel Dust, I know Patton had said when he writes songs, he's not so much concerned about the meaning of the lyrics, which goes to your point you just made.
Mhm.
He's more concerned about how the words sound because he can play
Sound.
with sounds. And
Yes.
he's really using his voice as an instrument as more than it is a communicator. So, and I've always had songs where I've listened to Faith More going, thinking to myself, even like 30 years ago, going, like, those are cool lyrics. I have no idea what they mean. I'll look them up someday. Never did. To this day, I'm like, I don't know that they even actually have a meaning, and maybe they don't because of what he said. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But Angel Dust too. The band had I have read that band had claimed that they were moving towards a more theatrical sound, and it's funny because when you think about Mike Patton, like if you go around a block of a major city, there might be a theater, a concert hall, a wedding venue, a coffee shop. You know, you name the place, Mike Patton could perform there. You know, an outdoor venue like a mosh pit, like he can perform anywhere at any time, and you wouldn't know he could perform at all the other places down the street. Like it's amazing.
Yeah, I'll Angel Dust wise, I mean, there's a coming apart. I think it doesn't happen until the next album after it, but you know, when you're in that band, it's almost like you just have to take everything with a grain of salt because some people were in the band were getting offended by the title of the album, and you know, what did the one guy say? These are like gay lyrics or something like I don't know. There's just and then the one guy leaves because what do we some I don't know. There's something about gay
I think
in
the album where Patton really started using broadening the range of his vocal styles, using more vocal styles and such. You know.
oh, Angel Dust.
Yeah.
Yeah, more than like. I mean, yeah, you know, when you come into a band, you probably can't come in like a bull in a china shop and rule the day. So, you know, that's where um
But musically, they did the same thing.
and that's where real thing is. I mean, to me, that they had a band, he came in, he sang, he made his adjustments, but kept, you know, I didn't look to see what his writing credits were on them anyway, but I'll take a look while we do this. My number two is the real thing. It's really the true sound debut for me. This is Faith No More. The other albums are not. The two albums prior suffer greatly in having strength from song to song. They were kind of prog to some degree with that keyboard lingering in the background as if they were like psychedelic furs or some shit like that. But the production, timing, and space was not non-cohesive, and this was cohesive. This was viable. Their vocalist made them viable. The sound was bigger, and if you're going to be like this, your sound has to be bigger. And damn it, this album is bigger. It would have been my number one, but the other one is just too perfect. I think it's a perfect album. The one I have at number one. So yeah, real thing. What's that? What is that? They do the cover, right? Of Generals Gather in Their Masses, right? What?
Oh, they did the cover of War Pigs. Yeah.
War Pigs. Yeah. Great cover.
Yeah.
You know who you gotta have got some balls to cover that. You might, big cojones for that one.
Oh, yeah. That's the one that has the instrumental too of Woodpecker from Mars, which is
yes. There's two. I think there's two instrumentals on that particular album, maybe.
But that's my number one.
Yeah.
That's my introduction to them. I've loved that album ever since. I probably listened to that album 1,000 times at least in my life, and listened to it on a cassette tape in my 1984 Cavalier, like on the way to school every single day, back and forth. And that too was really like they put more emphasis on the keyboards too, and the drums were more prominent than any other previous album. And Patton at that time was so new, so unique. I feel like I kind of liken it to like taking a great artist, street performer off the street, and giving that performer actual good resources and an actual budget, and then now you have a masterpiece that's created.
Yeah. My number one is Angel Dust. And it's 1 hour and 2 minutes of pure perfection in an outrageous format. progressive, alternative, metalish, zany put together. I mean, I think when I saw the title Angel Dust, I was like, kind of think this is gonna go badly, but there's not a bad thing about this record. Um, I, I want to say I want to just make sure who produced it. That's not Matt Wallace again. Yeah, he did most of their stuff at that point. This when you think about it, there's a 4 album arc here that's they're not, it's not like they're doing anything wrong. They're just extremely well put
Yeah.
together.
Like we were talking
Yeah.
earlier, that's the show I saw at UB in the small gym. I'd seen them previous to that in a stadium when they opened up for Guns N' Roses and Metallica, where the Bills play, and that was awesome too. But it's just better to see them in a smaller venue,
Yeah.
even though it's just a crummy little gym in a college. But it was great.
And I remember you telling me they oversold. It was packed, like you were in there. When the crowd moved, you had no choice.
Yeah, it was pretty packed. Yeah, they put a lot of people in there.
I mean, this album kicks off Land of Sunshine, and at that point, that's it. It doesn't stop. It got Caffeine, Midlife Crisis, Smaller and Smaller and Smaller, and Kindergarten, and then the fun Be Aggressive. That's who doesn't go along with that one. Yeah, album titles like Crack Hitler, song titles like Crack Hitler, Jizz Lobber. Just what the hell is going on? And they're all really well put together. And then they end on the instrumental Midnight Cowboy.
It's easy like Sunday Morning on there by the Commodores.
No. That was a re-release bonus track. The Commodore one is on Introduce Yourself, or is that a real thing? Hang on. I should know this, but I guess I don't want to be wrong.
I remember it was on the album because I had the album. I remember listening to it on the album.
So you might have had the extended version that had that on there. But I thought the Commodore. Yeah, maybe it was a bonus track. See, I had the cassette, and the cassette you didn't get bonus tracks. So you might be right.
I mean, I know I had the cassette, but I know I eventually converted it to CD, so I don't remember.
Yeah, it's on there.
Yeah. What's funny is that song was maybe one of their most popular songs in a lot of other countries, even to this day. Like a lot of the albums that didn't get like acclaim in the US are huge abroad.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, the most successful album is Angel Dust, selling wise, 2.5 million in the US and then more overseas and stuff. But I would definitely say that for those people that let's say you don't know Faith No More and you're looking to put this in your your new wheelhouse. Let's give you this is avant-garde in its style and delivery with Patton and vocal, but he has a marvelous vocalist. He just has he can do just about anything. What you said about him pulling lyrics for sound and how they sound is a marvelous statement to what this band accomplishes, both musically and in lyrical music. And it shows on everything they do. Okay, so if you're going to tell someone, where do you start?
I'd probably just hand him The Real Thing.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That being, like I said, that's the debut for me. I wouldn't give anybody the first. They would. But
I'd certainly give him Angel Dust next.
Yeah, I would. I mean, if you,
I just might hand both of them to him.
Yeah.
I won't say start with that. Say start with these two.
Yeah, digipack. We're digipacking them both together. To get two.
Yeah. It could have been the perfect double album.
I will say, I just thinking about this. Didn't they do a song on Judgment Night?
Yeah, it was. I think in between King for a Day and their album of the year is when they did the one with Booyah Tribe.
Yeah, what is it called? Another body murdered, right?
Yeah.
Another body. I mean, come on.
Oh,
Oh, get it together to watch a body get murdered. Oh
that's a
my
great
God.
track too.
Oh Jesus.
I wish they would have put that on one of their albums. I should have put it on as
Yeah.
like a
I think they
bonus
were
track.
on another. They did another soundtrack thing too. Probably Spawn, maybe. In a similar vein. They could,
You might
yeah,
be
they
right.
could. So, all right. So let's get to this. The idea and the ranking here of not the ranking, but the idea of this. Okay. So, is it legendary? The entire catalog is near perfection, reliable, inventive, sincere, and influential. Iconic, very memorable, very influential to the listener and industry, trend-setting and generational. Relevant. The albums they got better, they move forward, maybe even hitting stride and truly on their way to potential greatness. Club level, they have some good albums, songs here and there are memorable, reliable, but that not as inventive. Opening act, there's something special to the album, a song, but nothing more. Perhaps they're a little bit too comfortable. And then finally, a faded memory. The band is merely a shadow of themselves. Little relevance, except in the past, it's a catalog you listen to less often, and one of the albums maybe, and leave the rest. So I asked my king for a day, where do you rank Faith No More?
I think they are if an alien came down and said, give me something that's completely American or Californian, I'd give Faith No More.
Geez, you want to give them the Beach Boys?
Just not gonna
Okay.
find it anywhere else. My friend, my alien friend.
Yes, yeah, that'd be a little bit more acceptable than the Beach Boys harmonies. Uh, so you're putting them at
I mean, they
iconic?
are obviously influential. I mean, they wouldn't be, I don't think, considered iconic outside the industry. I don't know that they're like they don't transcend, even though some of their song could easily be played on a country station too, honestly. But yeah, I would say they're just meaningful, very meaningful, very influential. You know,
Okay. So that kind of puts them in that relevant,
and
almost.
and their tracks stand the test of time. They don't sound out of place, you know, except from the first two albums without Patton. I mean, they get a lot of these tracks could be released today and be like, oh, this sounds like today. Or I mean, some of it you might consider more 90s ish, but yeah, it still stands up.
Yeah. So I'm going to say this. It's amazing that after those first two albums, they got to where they are. If I was a record person, I would have had them one. I'd have had them done. They would have been done for me. I would have been like, this is not working out. There's no flow. I don't hear it. You don't hear it. You're not playing it. It's like I'll liken it to the new Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers. You got some good people. You got a great goalie. You know, there's something there, but lots of things missing maybe. And then you get the right pieces, and you get Patton. You know, and that's what they got. And I think for the band, they have to be together because the sum, whatever that holds it, the glue of those gentlemen works very well. The album to album since. I don't think they've made a bad album since. Um, that puts them to me at relevant, but in the industry, they are by far iconic. I mean, people in the music industry like to know what he's doing, what they're doing. A lot of bands emulate what they're doing and try to put their spin on it or take from it or absorb it and move on. Like System of a Down always comes to mind. Bjork doing some of what she does, that didn't didn't come out by itself. I think what they did for metal is created another genre of metal that didn't exist. Another they're considered progressive too, so they added a catalog or a genre in the progressive while they're at it. I think I don't consider them rap, but it is a vocal delivery that's a little bit like it.
Which actually was actually evident even on their first two albums with a different singer.
Yeah, yeah. So I move them more to iconic. I think they will constantly be remembered. I think they will, if someone says, put on something unique, give me something I that's going to bridge gaps of genre and but still hold cohesively together as a sound, and I would put them there. They are identifiable, and there's just a lot of a mutual respect in the industry for them. So I imagine one of these days they could probably have a Hall of Fame nomination that would work.
Yeah, when you go to a rock concert and you know how they play music over the speakers while they're preparing the stage, you're gonna hear a Faith
Yep,
No More.
yep, yep.
And
And
if you don't,
usually,
you should complain for a
yeah,
letter to Congress.
usually, usually evidence or the real thing. I've heard it many times. Yep, yep. So, what was your ranking? Do you love Faith No More? What incarnations? Which ones you like? We'd love to hear your ranking, obviously. I'd obviously love to hear what you think of if the band should continue on. I'm sure Mike Patton won't be, chiming in on our stuff anyway, but just a little of us. But hey, I'd love for them to continue on. I'd love to see them live. I never got that opportunity. I probably should have went to that show.
Well, they were supposed to
Uh,
tour, and then COVID hit, and
yeah, big
they got
problems
all
there.
postponed. I don't know if they're still ever going to do it. I know they've done some recent shows like with just Mr. Bungle, but so I don't even know like with the band. I mean, maybe they need another guitarist. I don't know. Like, is Buckethead available? I think he
His
is.
bucket and that's an excellent point. I would considering my last Unknown Sunday with Praxis, they would fit right in there. Get Bill Laswell to produce. I think he could make a marvelous cool album for that. Yeah, all right. That's great. I love it. Oh, we're on the web at beyondyourradio.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, of course. It's all about albums, bands, artists, anything we can get our hands on. Join us next time on Catalog Review Show. I'm not going to tell you what, because I already had two of them that we were going to do, and they've been postponed due to medical reasons and getting people together. We're still going to do Meatloaf. I'm waiting for the Grateful Dude to get better, and we'll wait as long as that takes for that one. I've got some other ones on the horizon, and I believe the Trues could be the next one up, but I'll give you that tease. Go beyond your radio with us, a real music appreciation channel. And until next time, happy listening.